In order to get this video into a 10-minute YouTube spot, I've sped it up, but it still seems to work. We're making a Moai statue from the Easter Island here, and we're choosing to use cardboard rock technology to do it. In this particular case, it's a weight issue. When this statue's done, I believe it weighs about 300 pounds, 7.5 foot tall, 4 feet wide, 3.5 foot depth. It's a big item, and yet to weigh 300 pounds is next to nothing. Anyone else that would make a statue of similar property would be outweighing me by so much it would be funny. Right here now, this is the base that we're creating. The neck comes out of the base to give stability to the chin, which then forth gives stability to the whole face. But it's the chest and chin area that we're making this with. And I thought about a lot of different ways. I mean, when I was asked to build this, I gave a quote, $2,500 for this statue, and I've quoted these statues a lot in the past. And I say a lot, maybe 10, 15 times, I don't know, over the years. And no one's ever spent the money to have us make one. They wanted one, but they didn't want to spend the money. Well, this lady did. I said to the guys, go down there and get me some cardboard and mock up a statue. Here's a photo of what I'm trying to have you make. And they're like, we can't do that. We don't have that, ability. Skylar said to me, he said, well, I'll get some styrofoam, and we've got a 4x8 block. 4x4x8, it would have been just perfect for this job. He's all carve it. I said, that's $300 worth of foam right there. There's no way you're going to use that. And it's a mess in the shop, and it would have taken him a considerable amount of time. So I've always wanted to do a statue this way, but I basically didn't have time to do it during the workday. So I took it home to my shop, and over the next couple of weeks, I spent here and there, nights, weekend here and there, and it took me about 50 hours to make this. But mind you, I didn't make it like I was just making one. When I got done with what I'm working on right now, which is the base, the chest, and the chin area, when I got to that point, I realized that it'd take me a considerable amount of time to figure out what I've just so simply done in seconds here now. And I thought, I'll undo it, I'll trace it, and I'll have a template forevermore, and I'll simplify this for anybody who ever wants to make anything like this in the future. So I started going a little bit further, taking it back down, making a system out of the template. When I say a system, any one of my guys could have taken my carbon copies and been able to make and have the key marks for all these fold lines. You see where I'm at right now with the tabs and how it's lining up on the neck? Those are all reference lines. You see the fold, the cut lines, the screw-to lines. I made a system that was easy. And I think if I'd have just made a copy, just not even a copy, if I'd just made the original one, I probably could have done it in probably, a third of that time. But making the system took me longer. At any rate, the base is done. Now we're starting on the face itself from the chin up. And those are handles that I created in the sides of the cheeks there so as you could pick it up and move it around the shop, just for simplicity's sake. But anyway, getting back to the copies of this, we now have this in a kit form, or you can buy it ready-made, anywhere from 18 inches tall up to the 7.5 foot. I haven't challenged myself to go above the 7.5 foot yet. The computer will let me do it because these are scanned into the computer, but at the same time I don't have it at this point. But we do have the kits where you can have the template, you can have the, the muds that we use, the texture, the stain, the sealer, everything you need to make this kit, or you can buy it ready-made. Now, this original one I did for $2,500. Today I can make it for $1,250 out the door. Here's a box that we're making that's going to support the inner face, or right around the eyes, which is a interior support so it doesn't have any compression issues. It's not going to compress in and collapse. These are braces now that I'm adding, which are just channels that I've made out of cardboard that are extremely strong. Anyway, the face is being braced. But going back to what I was saying, the aspect of this being in kit form, or we can make it for you in real time where we just send you a statue and it's already made. This is all available now. You just give us a call at the number, or you can get an email to us from the website that you see on the bottom. I also have this for the people that we train as far as rock, or the people who buy a kit. We have a 4-hour DVD on this, and it steps you through precisely. You see me talking in this clip here saying what I'm doing. Well, that's exactly what we do in the DVD, but it's all slow time, and it makes sense I'm telling you, why do you screw it this way? Look at what you cut here and why you're cutting it, and it gives you all the understandings that you need to properly make this set. But right here now we're working on the jaw area, I guess you'd call it, and getting it. Look at all the cuts that we've got marked out, and then we have the overlap screw line. We're taking flat cardboard, making a perfect radius that'll give his jaw the precise replicated form of what I saw in the Easter Island statue. At any rate, I'm just thinking here, we're about to end on this one clip, I believe. Nope, looks like I still got some time here. At any rate, going on here, we're using just regular drywall screws to hold this together. And in this, the one area we just did, we were about every 2 inches. Some of this, I've got it screwed about every 4 inches. Some of it, I've got it screwed about every 2 inches. It depends on, like on the lower jaw there, that was a lot of bend and a radius, and it was kind of a tugging, pulling type of a thing. So we secured it with a few more screws than we did in other areas. But rounding things on the table gave me an ability to take flat cardboard and radius it. and then just cutting out the dimensions that I did was the other aspect. This nose was a lot of fun to do. Kind of weird the way that they actually did it real time there, the Moai statues. They just had a flat area underneath the two nostrils that was just like I don't know how to say it. It was just, you'll see it as we mud it, but this is what I found in there as far as images on the websites there. As I said, I went and looked at the most popular viewed photos, the most celebrated photos of the Moai statues, and this is the one I chose to replicate. There are so many different forms out there. I guess it's up to you what you want to make, but this one here, like I say, is ready-made and it's out the door real quick. Figure, all of it. When you're looking at dry times, I think over the 5 days that we did this, but mind you, we made 3 of them in that time, and there was also the repair of areas that I didn't feel were up to the aesthetic standards that I was looking for. But I think it took a 5-day period. This is obviously the first day where we're just cutting it out and getting it all screwed together, and then the next day we actually mudded the horizontal areas that are vertically the way it stands right now, like the underside of the chin, the base, the underside of the lips, the nose, the brow, that sort of thing. We just basically mudded those and then let it sit. Truth be told, when I mudded my first one, I thought I could cover this whole thing with mud based on its strength that was apparent to me in the form that I had made. I thought it was pretty strong. When we started covering it, we had a sag, and it then collapsed. So it was not possible to mud this with the 3/4 inch lay of mud that we were looking for initially. So what I did was I staged it. There were 2 days to mud, and then I had no problem putting on, the first day I put on a little bit of mud. The second day I could finish the thing off and it didn't move. So I found that through trial and error. And again, I think that's one of the benefits of our courses and our purchasing from us, is that we do have field tested procedure and technology that isn't going to surprise you in any capacity later. We're gonna give you sound, tried and true tested understandings. In this particular case, I found that the way that I designed for the aesthetics, trying to replicate the aesthetics of the chin area was challenging to me. And if I had it over to do again, I would have made an interior brace that was somewhat different. With that being said, I didn't go back and do that, but I did alter the problem by procedurally addressing the way you mud it after you have built the form. Instead of going back to the form and making it to where you could mud it all at once, I said, what the heck, let's just take what we got and make it work. So the chin area, I think if you mud that along with the neck that's exposed, as you'll see in the next clip here, you won't have any problem at all when you stand it up and mud it. It'll take it. It just sagged right there on the underside of the chin, and that's from the weight of the whole head bears down on that, literally, and I can understand after why it collapsed. But currently, I think we're about to end in about a minute and a half here. This is the ears that we're putting on now. I didn't really like the way that the Moai statues, their ears were done by the Easter Island guys. I don't remember what their names are now. Moais, I guess. I don't know what. Anyway, the ears, the way that I saw them, I've made them this way on the statue that you see here, and I don't much care for. There, we're still working on finishing the ears. Obviously, the back is done now. I think the ears are the last thing that we actually have to do prior to sealing the cardboard. You're going to see me tape a little bit because I said I wasn't going to seal it, but then I decided to seal the cardboard so that it wouldn't get wet. If it gets wet, it loses its rigidity, and as a form, it would collapse potentially if there was wet cement put on it, and the cardboard needs to be sealed. So you're going to see me, actually we're putting the back on. It looks like we put the ears on and now I'm unscrewing them so I can put the back on. I misstepped here, but you put the back on, then you put the ears on, and you don't have that step being in conflict there. But right now, finishing the back, and then like I say, you're going to see me doing a little taping here on the joints. My thought is that there is an elevation change between one layer of cardboard and the other, and this makes a transition to where you don't eat up as much mud. I'm not worried about the cost of the mud. I'm worried about the weight of the mud. In addition, it doesn't allow water to get into the edge of the cardboard or in between the cardboard. In some areas, you have a gap that's larger than just 2 layers of cardboard coming together, so I'm going to address those too. But you're going to see me put on a little tape here, and then I stop, and then I take it outside and seal it with a clear acrylic, 100% acrylic, carried in a xylene-based solvent. It's just a way of getting that to where it is not going to allow the moisture from the mud to soak into the cardboard, making it lose its rigidity. Now here we've got 2 of the statues side by side, and you're seeing me tape. If you look on either side of the lower part of the nostril towards the edge of the cheek, you see a hole there where the cardboard doesn't fill in all the way. And I'm going to tape all those areas. On the left side of the eye area there's a gap in the cardboard. Now I'm outside sealing this just to get it, like I say, waterproofed, and sealing it all 2 coats and then basically coming now in the shop and going to tape over. Like those areas where the tabs are, there's a huge elevation change there, and taping over it just gives a perfect skin, an outside skin that is just continuous without any real elevation change. Now here we're starting to mud. This is what we're trying to go for is a 3/4 inch lay. That's the finish of the structural mud, and then we'll talk about the texture mud. But all I'm doing is the very base, the bottom of it, where that base comes up along the vertical part of the base. I'm doing the underside of the chin and the neck, and then I'm going to do the lips, and then I'm going to do underneath the nose and underneath the brow, because those are horizontally, when the statue's in the upright position, those are horizontally oriented, and it's just easier to lay it down and do it. Now you're going to see us stop mudding here after the brow is done. Although I do the whole chest area, as you can see, I did the underside of the neck, the chin, the lips, the nose, and the eyebrows. Now I'm standing it up, and that one's done. You can see the one behind me where the guys are working on that. That's got the eyebrows, the underneath the nose, the lips, the neck, the chin, and the base. Now they're mudding the second portion of it. So now we've got two of them. They're both in the same position. The ones that the front two guys are doing are in the same position that I just lifted up, where the brow, the nose, the lips, the chin, and the base are done. Now they're just finishing all the other vertical surfaces. Again, 3/4 of an inch of mud. Now our mud is very special in that at 3/4 of an inch, 12,000 psi strong, it is unbelievably unparalleled in this marketplace. And again, for a 7.5 foot, 4 by 3.5 statue, 3/4 of an inch weighs in about 300 pounds, and it is strong. Again, the form of the cardboard is nothing but a form to gain the shape that you're after. It's no structure, but it is, like I say, a total hollow cavity in there, and the shell is what makes the strength. So that's what they're doing now. And again, you can't apply this with a trowel. It has to be rubbed in to get it to each placement to be unified. Now, Skylar's out there now, which is an unnecessarily needed action here, to grind the fiber down, because it's so hairy, to get it to knock it down. You could have done that when you were mudding it, and it should have been done. At the same time, grinding is often done for aesthetic, to bring into shape what should be already there. Now we're going to wash it down in preparations of doing the texture coat. This was the structure coat that we just did. So again, washing it down, getting it all done. Now the guys are still working on the two. The one I just brought outside was one that was finished. Now the head's too rounded here. As when I look back at the photos of the Easter Island statue, I made kind of an error here in my templated form here, where I think I rounded it too much. So what I'm doing now is using solid fill method with some styrofoam chunks and covering it over with some more fiber mud. You'll see as I get done with this top, you compare the front statue to the back statue. The back statue, the head has not been altered. The front statue, it has. Where the lips are here, the lips just popped out too much, and they needed to be subtle in their transition from all areas of the face to the lips. So I just kind of added to that. And you'll see the back statue I was talking about there. It was too round, where the front statue now is good. Now we brought it over to the other shop now. We're going to, again, now we're putting the Stone Tough admixture. It's a bonding agent and an admixture. We're spraying that all over the surfaces, because we're about to apply a splatter coat of texture mud, which is going to give us the texture that we're looking for, which replicates the Easter Island statue. Although the statues that I saw photographically from Easter Island had a lot more roughness to it, mine doesn't have as much of that, but preference, I think, took hold here. But now we've got it outside. Now I took it over to this shop because this parking lot needs to be resurfaced, and splattering does tend to get a mess. So I didn't really mind it in this parking lot, but the fact is, the dash brush we've got a concrete pump. I could have blown this on with a concrete but my concrete pump takes about 1.5 buckets of mud to fill, where this was only a 3-bucket operation here. And the pool deck brush is my oldest form of splatter texture, and I think I like the effects of it more, and especially not having to hear the pump and clean the pump and get it started and have it plug and all this other stuff. So within about a half an hour, we had those 3 statues totally textured, and then we let it sit overnight, and then came back with a grinder wheel in our hand, a fiber grinder wheel, knocked it down. Now washed it, it's inside. We've now applied a bonding agent again. Now we're applying the hydro seal, and what I'm pointing out here is that you don't want to see the brush marks. This particular fireplace texture was not as rough as would be the statue, so I was just trying to indicate to you, watch your paintbrush marks. This is a finished surface here, and we don't want to see paintbrush marks. So again, hydro sealing it is the best mud that we can use in the cement realm to give us a seal. We're going to stain it and then seal it here after I drop it off here. We're installing this outside my shop at home, and notice I've not put a concrete base down. Well, I didn't have my wife's approval to even put this statue there. She thought it was kind of creepy as we were making it anyway. So down by my shop, you can't see it from the house. So I didn't put a concrete foundation of at least 3.5, 4 inches to set this down. I just put it in the dirt. If you were going to do that, put some gravel down. You'll see me lay the statue down here momentarily, and then I'm going to dig out a level area on this hill. And at that point, if I'd have dug it another 6 inches, put some gravel underneath it, I'd have a better installation. Notice where my hand was just, the base of this statue has a vertical area on it, which I intended to have buried in the ground 4 inches, so you didn't see the underside of it. Again, foundations are important to long-term success. This is a clay-based soil, high clay-based soil, and if it gets saturated, it could tend to move. So I would want a foundation underneath it. In my particular case, I didn't, so I could move it if I was so ordered by my wife. Now again, the compressor, I don't have a compressor in my shop right now. I have a little teeny one, which the air gun wouldn't, to spray this on using an HPV gun would have been my preference. But not having the enough CFM to do that, I just used the pool deck brush. This is old technology, which we used to stain this way. But for as little as I'm staining here, it doesn't take very long. I don't really address in this short clip the staining. I edited out a lot of it because I didn't have the time in this YouTube video. But with the staining we have in our other DVDs. But